Welcome back to another episode of ShareNet. Today I have Vanessa with us, and she's going to talk about her passion, which are her jobs. Welcome, Vanessa. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you.
It's great to see you again because it's been some years since you
has.
are at RCD, physically in RCD.
Yeah,
Welcome back.
thank you.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what are you up to and what are you currently working on?
Where to start? It's been, you're right. It's been a long time since I've been here. I recently moved. I've been looking for jobs. I've been trying to keep myself as active as possible. I believe the last time that I was here, I took a class with you.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And I've been trying to do that, but that's not been working out for me.
Yeah, especially you're kind of far away.
Yeah. So it makes it a little more difficult, but I've been keeping active. A lot of things have been online because of the pandemic. I work with community living, and so a majority of my jobs have been based online.
I see.
But we're slowly going back to in person, which I really like because I'm not an online person. But it is what it is. And so for my first job that I do, I work with community living as a welcome workshop presenter. So I go to high schools and I speak to the high school students and their families about what are those crucial next steps out of high school and how to better help that individual in the process of just graduating.
Right.
Because as we know, some people with certain disabilities may not be able to make it to college level.
Absolutely, that's correct.
Excuse me. But with a little bit of guidance, it's about helping people find how the families can also help, but also like CLBC is fundamental too. So, where does the fundamental part of it fall into place, right? And it's navigating that path for the individual. So, like whether it's recreational because they can't reach college level for whatever purposes, when people are looking for respite, it's navigating the families into finding respite for that child.
Right.
When the families have to work or step out for like whatever they need that time. Right. So that's what CLBC does.
So your job, so I imagine you interact with a lot of students, especially students with a disability in a high school setting.
Yes.
Okay, so you would go and talk to them and offer them advice on what step to take next.
Yeah, so we offer a 4-week workshop series, and it's all about, it goes from what CLBC is about to how that middle point where CLBC helps, and again, like I said, navigating what's appropriate for the individual.
Right. Awesome. That's very meaningful work. It's of course we know CLBC's been doing really good work in the community and just offering support for younger folks with disabilities. So that's great. And did you want to talk about your second job as well?
Yes. So my second job is I'm a support teacher for an all bodies dance class.
All bodies dance class. Can you tell me more about that?
So it's all bodies dance class is all levels of people with and without disabilities. Okay. So people with disabilities, seniors, people without disabilities.
Right.
So, and it's about exploring your body. It's about exploring what parts can move,
Right.
and the things you never thought
Right. Yeah.
you
I didn't know I
you
can
could
move like
right?
this. All right.
Yeah.
So your participants are mostly seniors.
Some are seniors, some are uh, younger younger adults.
Okay.
And then again, like I said, we have a few people, as well as myself, that have disabilities. So, for me personally, because I bear no weight in certain parts, so it's about like what parts of my body can I
Right.
move, which way can I move.
Right. It's basically exploring your functional range and see which part of my body, because obviously everybody will move a little bit differently
Yeah.
because of the disability that's involved,
Yeah.
right? So now
And
it's
some
about
come
exploring.
and it's also too, some come with walkers, some come with canes. So it's how can I move my canes, how can I dance with my walker,
Right, right.
you
Very
know how
cool.
can I dance with my wheelchair.
Wow, I would love to see and attend one of your classes. There are many things that we can also learn
Yeah,
from that.
that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, because here at RCD we also have an exercise class, but
Mm-hmm.
it's very routine. So we mostly focus on building up and stretching, building up our muscle and stretching our bodies.
Mm-hmm.
And we do this every Friday. Your class is when?
Every Saturday,
Every Saturday.
starting second Saturday of September.
Second Saturday of September. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's going
And that
to
will
start.
and that will run until November 12th.
Okay, so it's like a term, like
Yeah.
from September to November. Okay, sure. Very cool. Wow, thanks for telling me and all our viewers what you've been up to lately. And I think everybody should be like you, keeping themselves busy, working. Well, you're very hardworking because you have two jobs. Right, I only have one. But thank you for sharing. Now, speaking of working with jobs like this, how did you get started with, let's say, the two organizations that you mentioned? How did you get started?
So with community living, I actually got started because it was, I want to say, I guess, like a bug in my ear from one of my social workers.
Okay.
I'm with community living myself.
I see.
As a client, and one of my social workers said to me that community living was looking for people, that they had a new project going on, and he thought that I would be really great to work for it. So he put in a good word for me, and before I knew it, I got the job, and I was doing welcome workshops left, right, and center.
And I have to say, you grew a lot, like in terms of your maturity, your way of conversation, and because last time I remember you were my student, right? So I still felt like you're a student, but no, you actually grew quite a bit, and now you're delivering workshop yourself. That's really, really good to see. Good progress, Vanessa.
Thank you.
So what do you enjoy most in these activities, in the jobs that you're doing?
I enjoy just being able to connect with the families, and and especially because a majority of these workshops, some of it comes based off of the self-advocate, which I am. So it's like my personal experience and sharing that with the families. So being able to actually have that connection at some level is very meaningful for me, because if you know Ian, you know that I'm a very outgoing person. I do my best to be talkative, but not like super talkative, if that makes sense. But like I do like being able to have that connection, and share what makes me feel comfortable.
Definitely. Like, it's very nice to be able to help others at the same time engage in a conversation in a meaningful way.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's a win-win situation, especially
Yeah.
with your personality,
Exactly,
as you mentioned before. Very cool. What about the biggest challenge? There's always a challenge in our work, in the two jobs that you mentioned. Tell me about the challenges.
For community living, one of the biggest challenges was when the pandemic started back in 2020, I believe it started.
Yeah. Early 2020, yeah.
Yeah. One of the biggest challenges was having to go virtual.
Right.
Because I'm not tech savvy,
Oh,
but
the computer stuff. You don't like those? That's my favorite part.
I love computers, but when you have to spend all day on it, I'm sure you can understand how tiring that can be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have to, adjust the cameras, set up your Zoom calls and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and then because a majority of our work is based on Zoom, sometimes my line sometimes would cut out and I would lose connection.
Right. The technical difficulty.
Yeah,
That's the challenging part. Yeah.
So yeah, that was difficult. But with the All Bodies dance class, we actually postponed completely. And we did actually go, at one point, we did actually go online.
Okay, yeah.
But as far as the rest of it went, everything just postponed until we knew we could go back.
Right.
Because it was also getting to that point where it was that sense of, I want to say, being itchy to go back.
Right. Everybody wants to meet up at a place.
Everyone wants to go back.
Right.
And I know for me personally, just on a personal level, I can't do the virtuals because I have to interact. I have to be here because if I'm not, it makes me crazy.
This whole ShareNet and this whole idea of putting videos on the YouTube channel, it all came from the pandemic. I have to say, without the pandemic, we would never have launched our YouTube
There are a lot
channels.
of things that I'm grateful for since the pandemic happened. But, because it in a sense, it is keeping people connected. But at the same time, you have to have, now we're getting, I think, from what I've kind of noticed, I don't know where we're at anymore, but from what I've noticed is like we're slowly being able to get back to in person and then have that option of doing things virtually if we want to.
Yeah, it's like we can do hybrid, we can do in person, we can do all Zoom. It's now up to us. It's like we've unlocked a gift in the past. Now we are able to make full use of these gifts that we have. So absolutely, I agree with you. Okay, so yeah, technology, sometimes they do get a little tricky, but you'll come to love it. Yeah. So what are your plans for the future?
I am actually recently I've been thinking to go back to school.
Okay.
I do want to upgrade my English and my math skills.
Okay.
Which I've postponed just due to a lot of personal things.
I see.
But I am looking at going back, and now that I've moved, I am thinking of transferring those things and transferring it to the school that I know.
Okay. Going back to school. That's exciting. It's no matter what age you're at, there's always something new to learn.
Yeah.
And going back to school can't go wrong. Very cool. Now, with regards to advice for people looking for jobs such as the jobs that you're working on, mainly I would classify this as community service / service providers. What are some of the advice you would give to people?
I would say follow your heart, and if you know what you're passionate about, go for it. I actually was passionate about reception work.
Mm-hmm.
And who would ever think that I would be where I am today?
Right.
I'm nowhere near reception work.
Okay.
But it's still something that I hold dear to me and that I want to do. So if that ever comes about, I will jump on that opportunity.
Yep. That's a good idea. And of course, your near future plans of going back to school, upgrading English and mathematics will definitely help. But if you're good presenting, because I've noticed that you are very good at presenting your thoughts. If that's something like that is working out for you, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Perhaps you can be a inspiration speaker one day. There are lots and lots of people like that.
Yeah.
With or without disability, and that's something that you can also think of. I think that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Vanessa. And thank you, viewers, for joining us today. And once again, our ShareNet is every Monday, and we are nearing the end of this season. Catch us next time on Monday again at 3 o'clock. Every Monday at 3 o'clock, we'll have ShareNet episode for you. Have a good one. Thank you, Vanessa.
Thank you.
Bye now.